Welcome once more to the Mercurial Trequartistas Gamecast, your weekly fix of footballing flair, finesse, fireworks, and folklore. By way of introduction, I'm Tatan, and joining me is my co-host, the man who reads form well before it becomes folklore. Mark, how are we feeling?
Oh, Farm before folklore. Maybe not this week. I thought this was the Wimbledon special.
A different podcast, perhaps one for the future.
Maybe one day.
So what's on the menu today? Well, we will continue with our take on the World Cup. So we are pretty much into week two, veering into week three now. But if we just talk through the biggest stories of the last 9 days or so, if we start with Germany, so their tournament has unravelled in quite dramatic fashion. So Germany's week, it became one of the stories of the tournament. So side that had earlier looked quite forceful, they were brought back down to earth after a defeat to Ecuador, and they were then eliminated by Paraguay on penalties after a 1-1 draw in normal time. After extra time. The exit was made noisier by anger over VAR, and the German fans are not happy with the way that the team has played and the way that Nagelsmann has conducted himself. And they are asking for one person to come to the fore and be the national team manager. That's a certain Jurgen Klopp. Mark,
I thought you
what
were
do
going to
you
say
reckon?
Sal Allardyce for a minute there.
Not this time.
This time. Okay, all right.
But what do you reckon? Germany, Nagelsmann, Klopp?
The the pressure's been on straight away, hasn't it? I mean, Klopp's doing punditry. Uh, I think early on he did make a bit of an apology for sort of saying something that he maybe thought was a little out of turn regarding Germany's setup in one of the earlier matches. But the later ones, I mean, Ecuador are no slouch. Ecuador are a very capable team, and Paraguay, they've got a bit about them. The USA result was absolutely a one-off, and USA were very good in that game. But Paraguay, you know, they they will play. They will defend, defend stoutly, and Germany struggled with it. They couldn't break them down.
Yeah.
It was, yeah, I think on the night, Paraguay deserved to go through. A bit of controversy with the disallowed goal. They need to get the rules straight on what is and isn't obstruction in the penalty box. There's too much going on. It needs cleaning up and it's making a mess of the game. And it's leaving contact issues like that open to interpretation. And it's inconsistent throughout the whole game. So yeah, something has to be brought in. I think, bit of a spin on the old obstruction rule. Because at the moment they've got it sort of set up so you can have the jostling going on before the ball's kicked, before it's in play. Then after that, you know, foul, contact, whatever comes in. But just get rid of it. It doesn't add anything to the game and it's just making it messy. So, but that's ignoring the point that Paraguay are very good and Germany weren't up to scratch.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of their big players didn't quite perform. And it just hit me like a rocket the other day that it's been 12 years since they last won the World Cup. So it was the amazing victory in Brazil back in 2014, which was, incredible. And the highlight of that was the 7-1 defeat in the quarters of Brazil. But since then, it's not really been that good. But let's see, a bit of rebuilding,
No.
possibly a new coach who's more than popular in Germany.
Oh, are
Could
you
have them.
saying it? Are you saying it? Are you going hashtag clap then?
Well, there's certainly been a lot of hoo-ha from the fans about this, and let's let's see. I
One
think
name
a
we know
lot
it
of
won't
us.
be. It won't be Glasner. Glasner's off to Forest, apparently.
I did not know that, but amazing,
Oh,
amazing. So, but what happened to Pereira then? He was brought in at Forest. Has he been
he's
unceremoniously shoved
off.
aside?
He's gone. I think it's Forest all over again. Apparently Pereira had a meeting last week
Mhm.
regarding final transfer targets. So to all intents and purposes, they tended to carry on with him. And yeah, they've turned around and gone, Glasner, you're in. Pereira, you're off.
Wow.
So
Wow.
Forest have got a Forest.
Well, we've spoken a lot about the owner of Forest before, and Glasgow is certainly no shrinking violet. Um, how do you think it will go? Well, how long is it going to last for? That's the first question.
Who knows? With the way Forest are firing and hiring, it could be 14 days, 14 weeks. Uh, who knows? Who knows? But yeah,
Oh.
if it's a ropey start, you wouldn't be surprised if they did it again and again and again. It's in laughing stock territory now, I think.
Mm. I can remember there was as when I was a kid, there was a wrestler I was very fond of. He was called Bill Goldberg, and he was just indomitable. He would he would easily beat the opponents that was wheeled out in front of him that week, and his catchphrase was "Who's next?" I think the same thing could apply to Marinakis at Forest. It would be like, "Who's next?" That's anyway. Back to the World Cup. So let's talk
Yeah, oh
about
yeah, totally. Yeah.
so another great footballing nation who haven't had it that good over the last few days. So Morocco's elimination of Holland stands among perhaps the biggest shock to me of the tournament so far. So Morocco held Holland to 1-1 all the way through extra time, and they won the shootout 3-2. To me, the result it just reinforced the sense that Morocco are not just awkward opponents, but they are a side of genuine conviction and maturity as well. I mean, we've spoken a lot about how well they played in the African Cup of Nations earlier in the year. We've both been very impressed with them. Um, but Holland, Virgil van Dijk, all the great players who were there, so many players that we know so well. It really was a shock to me. Thoughts?
I wasn't expecting them to go too far into the draw. I've watched a few of the group games. When they were good, they were good. But there were too many patches in games where they just looked off it. Morocco have had a fantastic couple of years. And again, like Paraguay, they deserved the win. Um, Brilliant penalty shootout, absolutely inspired by the Morocco goalkeeper and coming out with a technique that was novel. And I think it got into the Netherlands players' heads. He didn't dive. He basically sort of did a little dance up and down the line. And then at the moment they were about to take it, stood dead still. And then just as they did take it, he took quick side steps or quick shuttle steps to the left or to the right. And if he guessed the right way, he's got the half of the goal covered. He's got the height with the arms. He's got his feet ready for low shots. And it was almost like Netherlands were sort of looking at each other like we didn't prepare for this. What kind of penalty saving technique is this? And they hit the woodwork, they blasted it over, the keeper saved one. Brilliant, brilliant stuff from the keeper, Bono. And yeah, I'm, I'm looking forward to seeing other keepers try and adapt this into their technique because if the keeper guesses the right way doing that, that's a big, big advantage to the goalkeeper.
Well, let's wish Morocco well for the rest of the tournament. They are a splendid side, and well done in beating Holland. But it still was a bit of a shock to me. I really was surprised. I expected Holland to sort of get through, perhaps in like normal time as well. After that, if we move on to one of the co-hosts, let's focus a bit on Canada. So Canada beat South Africa 1-0. They are through now, and it's been interesting. I mean, I think, the level of home support that we've seen for Canada, it's been immense. So certainly in Toronto and Vancouver. They played their last game away from home. They had to go down to Los Angeles, so there wasn't quite the same level of support. But Jesse Marsh has got the team playing well. Any thoughts on them? I mean, how far do you think they could go in the tournament?
Well, I'm glad they finished it when they did because I don't think I could have done with watching any more of that game. It was
That good.
it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. The group games. I've enjoyed Canada in the group games. That was good, but this knockout match was shocking. Um, yeah, at that point when the goal went in, yeah, they did us all a favor by not forcing us to watch anymore. South Africa probably mostly to blame. Very, very negative. Taking so much time at the back. There were too many times where the keepers just stood with the ball and just going, "Well, I'm not moving." But then Canada weren't moving forward to try and close him down either. It's sort of they got into a weird kind of stalemate with the possession, and it was a bit of a bore fest, that one. Brilliant goal to win it, but no. Glad there was no more than there needed to be of that one.
So do you think they will go out to the next round? I'm not sure who they're playing. I can't quite remember, but or even if it's been decided yet. But
Oh, right. Yeah, I don't know. I think the next round might be the end of the road. I would be surprised if they got further than that.
yeah. And Jesse Marsh back to the Premier League at some point. I thought he was rather good at Leeds. I didn't mind him at all.
Did you not?
No, no, no. I thought he was all right, but
Yeah,
take it from that. I
but
take it from
he's
that.
he's
You've
no
got a
he's
different.
no Sam Allardyce.
Oh, he's not in the same league as Big Sam, like you know that, Mark.
Oh, okay.
But what if you were to give Leeds fans, well, a choice, that if Farker does leave at some point or sort of gets moved on, you've got a choice in between Jesse Marsh and Big Sam. Who do you think they would go for to come back? I mean, both have been managers at Leeds before.
Yeah, I don't think Sam Allardyce would go back. Not after the last time. So it's an easy. It should be an easy pick.
Right, we keep talking about home football. Let's get back to the World Cup.
How did that happen? I'm just trying to
How did
angle
that
it towards
happen?
Wimbledon here.
Oh,
If I
that
if
will
I can
come
get us to
too.
talk about Wimbledon, the football club, that's it. We're on tennis.
Well, we should have a feature on them at some point. Well, I mean, surely just in terms of history alone, talking about, well, the old version of Wimbledon and the MK Dons as they are now,
Yeah.
it's worth but anyway, let's move on to France. So I think France have looked like a side of real authority. So their win last night over Sweden was a 3-0 win. It was one of the cleanest and most persuasive performances of the tournament so far. As always, Mbappe is at the centre of all discussions, but their forward line is incredible. So Elise, Barcola, Dembele, Mbappe, how can they not score? Absolutely fantastic. But what struck me was France's air of control, and they just look, what's the word I'm after? Not quite efficient, but they just look effortless, and they make it look so easy. And the thing I always say is that teams that peak too early, they often struggle a bit later on in tournaments, but France don't look like they've peaked at all. Even now, all the games we've seen them play, they look like they are playing in second or third gear, and there's more gears that they can easily run through. Hugely impressive. Any thoughts?
Got to be the favourites. They've been head and shoulders above everybody else. Uh, Mbappe's goals have been absolute class. They're going to have a bad performance for somebody to knock them out. If they're playing at the best, then I don't think there's another team that's going to be able to deal with any of that. So yeah, imperious,
Yes.
confident. They've got a bit about them. I think they're on a mission and fully expect to see them in the final.
Yeah, yeah. Spot on. I couldn't agree more. They've been absolutely fantastic, and they are the team that everyone keeps saying are, lucky to go furthest and actually win it. And it's a pleasure to watch them. It genuinely is each time. After that, if we move on to one of the greats of the game and his team, Messi and Argentina. So I saw Argentina beat Jordan 3-1 with Messi again on the score sheet. It's time from a rather strange free kick. I mean, in fairness, if you've seen it, I would have expected any keeper worth his salt to have saved that. But Mark, you are part of the goalkeepers union. Perhaps you could talk about that. But the result was authoritative. As I say, they beat Jordan 3-1. But Messi's almost, he's part of the folklore of this tournament and a football, of course, at this point in his career. And he's still in the Golden Boot. I think Mbappe, Haaland, Kane as well. All of them are up there. What do you reckon? They could go all the way to the finals, you think? Or
I'm not. I don't know. I'm not as confident about Argentina getting all the way as I am France. Been great to see Messi banging in the goals. The free kick. I mean, any keeper can make a mistake. I suspect he it kind of got him set up, and he was expecting the shot elsewhere. So like, maybe a bit more height on it. So I think it's more being caught out than it was uh, a mistake, rather. Yeah. So we'll put it down to sort of like quick thinking from Messi rather than a keeper's mistake, because as we all know, keepers never make any kind of mistake.
rarely, very, very rarely.
Rarely, rarely.
Rare, yeah. It's usually not their fault at
Absolutely
all.
not. No, 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 no,
Yeah.
no.
Let's not talk about David James there, but again, that's one for another topic, perhaps. So, but
You went straight for David James on that one, right? Okay.
who would you go for?
Ooh. I mean, I don't know. The keepers just
If
don't
I
make
could just
mistakes.
clarify, I mean, on a personal note, I like David James very much, but yeah, um, I'll just leave it at that. But
The only criticism I'll have of David James is the one time he played outfield for Man City, I thought he was very suspect.
I thought he was rather good that day, especially compared
Did you?
to other City players at the time. But anyway, let's move on to Norway. So they've reached new ground. Haaland, as always, is at the fore of this. So they beat the Ivory Coast 2-1, and I think this was their first World Cup knockout victory. So that makes it to me one of this week's most meaningful milestones. And Haaland has been central to the story, not just because of his goals, but he gives, I don't know, Norway confidence. It's hard to say that, if a team has a player who's in that good form, and who's just known as being a world-class player, other players around him, they gain from this. People talk about Pele and Maradona, Zidane in France, Mbappe now, Messi and Ronaldo for their respective nations. Haaland he's built the same way and he offers the same to his, well, in terms of confidence and being able to sort of play well and sort of give them more of an aura. He does that for Norway. I always say that any team with Haaland in it, they like you could never ever write them out. I think they might go far in this tournament. You mark my words. Let's see. But any thoughts?
Who is this Haaland? Is
No,
some
no.
new up and comer maybe?
You could have said who last season, but not anymore because last season is done and dusted. That's the World Cup, and in the
Oh,
season
it's the
ahead.
same Haaland. All right, okay. I thought it was a relative. Yeah, I mean, first knockout win, worth the wait for Norway. So, but that's one of the side effects of this expanded format, isn't it? You've got much more open field in the early knockout rounds. So, maybe in previous World Cups gone by, Norway would have been going straight into a match against a much higher rated opponent. I mean, Ivory Coast have been good, but Norway historically they've been knocked out by stronger over the years. So yeah, you never know. Any team that's got a fantastic striker, if they can keep getting the ball to them and they're tight at the back, then yeah, they could progress. Be interesting to see where they end up. But yeah, this Haaland, I'm gonna have to do a little bit of research. I don't know too much about him.
I think you might be a bit impressed with what you see. Just like check out his best goals on YouTube, and he isn't a bad player.
Oh,
I've
okay.
seen worse players. So
Got potential.
yeah, and from what people say, and from I mean, he comes across as like a very nice chap. So yeah, all good. Then if we move on to Brazil, so Brazil survived a very stern examination from a solid and hard-working Japanese side. So Brazil beat Japan 2-1. The goal came very late. It was from Martinelli of Arsenal. I wouldn't say it was an evening of things being easy for Brazil at all. It was more a test of nerve, timing, and just like general resilience. That's the best way I would describe that result. And from years gone by, sides that win World Cups, they generally have to survive one or two games like this that are a bit, fraught and more difficult than expected. And the game felt a bit like that. So Brazil, they do remain in the competition, but they are a bit vulnerable under pressure, and a lot of people have been saying that. And we will come on to Scotland a bit later on, but certainly amongst some circles, there's been well, a bit of disappointment that Scotland didn't put them under more pressure as and when they played them late last week. But how do you think it's going for the team from Brazil?
No, I think they've been flattering to deceive. The midfield has been way too open. Too many players not tracking back.
Mm.
And yeah, you could say it's resilience or resilience, but you can only get away with that so many times against better teams. They're not going to be able to turn that around. I don't think. When there've been too many games where they just look way off it. And if you're looking at the Morocco Brazil match first half, and you didn't know who was who, and you had to guess,
Mm.
you'd have got it wrong. You, Morocco were better than Brazil for that entire first half. Um, I don't think they're gonna do it this year.
Mm. I agree. They could be a bit tighter in midfield. The defense has looked shaky at times, and the other thing is, yeah, I know they have good strikers, but you think about the strikers that we saw from Brazil as and when we were young. They were genuinely world class and so frightening. I don't think these guys are quite in that bracket just yet.
No.
I think Rayan at Bournemouth, he could be very, very good, but you think about the way that Ronaldo was at the same age as Rayan and Ronaldinho as well. And perhaps that's being unfair, but they were incredible, absolutely incredible.
Oh,
But
OG Ronaldo was ferociously scary.
what a player.
And yeah,
Yeah.
the fouls they've got at the moment, they've not got that. They've not got that aura about them. They don't
Mm.
have, the goals aren't there.
Mm.
So they've been, yeah, flattering to deceive. I know Casemiro got the header the other night, but he's been struggling.
Mm.
Maybe it's a World Cup too far for him, but yeah, Brazil, no, I don't think they're winning it. And
Mhm.
yeah, if they're not careful when they do go up against a good team,
Mhm.
it could be another big defeat. Not saying another 7-1, but I don't expect them to be close.
Yeah. Yeah. We will come on to who their quarterfinal opponents may be shortly, but let's touch on England at this point. So we are now shooting this shortly after England's victory against Congo. England top the group. There's been injuries, so Quansah, James, Declan Rice as well. I think Gordon was injured for a bit as well. So I would describe England as being solid but unspectacular so far. They are advancing, but I mean, at this point in time, there's still a bit of doubt over rhythm and whether they look fully convincing. Certain parts of the team do look a bit disjointed. Certainly I see in between the defence and the midfield, it's just not quite there. But Harry Kane, just like Messi. and Haaland and like all the other big strikers, his presence in the team, it will galvanise England. But what do you think? And on the subject of Brazil, I mean, I think England could face Brazil in the quarters, assuming both teams get through their sort of next round, which is going to be tricky for both, of course. But thoughts?
I mean, England, probably the best. I mean, they have a good half a match against Croatia, but apart from that, it's been functional more than you know anything else. And if not for Kane, then yeah, they could have been coming home. Uh, Goal out of nothing for the second one against DR Congo, and yeah, that could be the difference. If England do play against Brazil, England having a very, very good striker as opposed to Brazil could be the thing that sways it.
Mm-hmm.
But saying that, England's defence is making me nervous. There's I don't know how to describe it, but there's uncertainty going on. There's there's a hesitancy to close down. It's almost like the shots are being invited, the crosses are being invited. And if they are going to progress further, then they're going to have to sort that out because, like Brazil, go up against a good team.
Yeah.
Those decisions, or lack of decisions when it comes to closing down, will come back to haunt them. But it could have been worse. This could have been a very different podcast if
Yes.
Congo had held on to the lead.
Well, I mean, but going back to a point I made earlier about 10 minutes ago, that I mean, I always say that teams that peak early in tournaments, they do tend to fizzle out. And I would take that as a sign of encouragement. You know, teams that sort of grow in stature over the course of a tournament, they usually tend to peak later on around the semis and, and the final. Those things usually go hand in hand. So not playing so well at this point in time isn't necessarily a bad thing, but the issues that both you and I have identified, they are things that Tuchel will be very, very aware of, I'm sure.
Oh, he
And
knows. You could see it on his
y-
face as the game was going on.
yeah,
He knows.
yeah. So let's have a bit of faith in Tuchel. He's done very well so far. A lot of credit to him and to the players as well. It's no mean feat to sort of get where they've got to so far. So credit to them as always. We always like to give credit. That goes without saying. We move on to a slightly different topic, and it's a pleasing one. So you might have seen earlier in the week that when the group stages concluded, 9 out of 10 African teams who had started the World Cup, 9 out of 10 got to the next round. So they got beyond the group stages. And I don't know, it was just very, very pleasing to see. The nice thing about the World Cup is that it's a blend of different football from different continents, and you don't always get to see those. Well, I mean, like such matches outside the World Cup. There's the occasional friendly when a team from South America or like Africa turn up to Europe, and I mean, I always enjoy these games very much, but seeing the sort of, I won't say clash of styles, but because the difference in styles. That's part of what makes the World Cup great, and it's wonderful to see the African teams doing so well. I know a few of them have been knocked out so far, but yeah, I just wanted to say that it's been really, really good.
Yeah, well, we enjoy AFCON whenever
Oh yeah.
it's coming around in the calendar, and some of the teams are quite happy to do it old school and just get the ball, go at the defender, get the ball in, have a shot.
The teams that have done well, I mean, the level of coaching has been very, very impressive, and the tactical discipline shown by a lot of them. I mean, I think back to England versus Ghana in particular, France versus Senegal. It was a very early game in the tournament, but both teams were very, very evening. It's even. I know that France won that in the end, but it's been hugely impressive for me, and long may it continue. And who knows? Perhaps in one World Cup in the future, there might be an African team that wins it. We just never know. Perhaps in our lifetimes that might happen, but let's see. Let's move on to Spain. They keep winning and winning and winning, and Uruguay have paid the price. So Spain may not have produced the week's greatest drama, but I mean, to me, they've quietly preserved their credibility. They're through, and they always look good. They always look good. I mean, they are a bit like England in that people aren't, people are pointing out the faults with them, but if it comes together, they will be a very, very good team. Let's see.
Well, Uruguay, were they the team that had their return travel arrangements cancelled by their equivalent of the FA because they were
That
so
was
unhappy with how that qualifying campaign had gone?
was that was really, really
I mean,
disgraceful. It just was.
it's harsh. Spain, yeah, they dark horse, but I don't think they're going to be enough of a dark horse to win it.
A bit like Brazil.
I think I'll go Spain have slightly more chance than Brazil, but I think aren't Spain in France's side of the draw? Isn't that the problem for them?
Mm, yeah, true. I think we have time for two more quick stories.
Oh, okay then.
We have to focus on Scotland. We are so fond of the Scots, but it just ended rather painfully. So they lost to Brazil, and they were hoping to sort of be amongst the third place teams, but it just didn't happen. And Steve Clarke's tenure came to an end. He resigned, and it's just a shame. I mean, I think a lot of the pundits who we've seen on TV, they spoke at length about this, and they did so because they care. I mean, all of us have a real soft spot for Scotland, all of us want them to do well, but it was a bit of a sad end to the tournament, and they started well against Haiti. They won 1-0, but against Morocco, they conceded that early goal, and that was their undoing. And against Brazil, I think, a lot of people were like trying to hype things up and, sort of hint that this would be an easier game than Morocco. But Brazil, even in first or second gear, they are still pretty good. They've got world-class players. And the Scots just didn't put them under pressure. But they've not got, past the group stages. But do you think they could, well, I mean, in terms of, of like qualification for a future World Cup or a Euros, do you think it could happen or? And do you think they could improve? That's the key thing that they need to start thinking about.
I think I mean they did absolutely amazing to get there. Brilliant achievement. So yeah, they can hold their heads up high with that. As far as the group games go, I think it came across as a little bit of naivety, inexperience, and it looked like a little bit of nerves. I mean, the win, the first win, brilliant, but it was nervy result. Morocco, Morocco, they've been fantastic. They've had a really good tournament, and Brazil haven't been great, but you don't need to be great if you're going to turn around and offer the ball up in your 6 yard box with an open goal. So that
Yeah,
did that didn't help. They were playing from behind straight away,
yeah,
and then they know they're in the territory of, well, we don't want to lose too big, and it's difficult to get through a game like that. You spent so much time trying to not concede. And yeah, it was too big a defeat in the end. Realistically, it was always going to be a very tough group to get out of. But goal difference was always going to be key, and unfortunately, they weren't able to keep the numbers down. So yeah, they'll learn from it. They'll move on. I think Steve Clark probably could have done with maybe taking a few weeks just to have a think about it. Maybe it was a bit too raw at the time,
yeah,
but I'm sure they'll give it another good go at a
yeah,
future tournament.
yeah. Well, one last thing, very, very quickly. The boos that take place during the hydration breaks. I found them very entertaining. A one-line answer from you, yes or no? How you enjoyed the boos?
Yes, booze are the sound of advertising money.
Right, that's all we have time for this week. So until the next time, keep the faith and like and subscribe to our channels on various social media and do get involved there if you are so inclined. We are back sometime in the next few weeks with more TMTG and World Cup goodness. Till the next time, until all are one.